Hello everyone, welcome back. I got a very exciting painting to show you guys today, and I think you guys will really enjoy it. I plan on it being a wet on wet since there's a lot of sky, a lot of mist. I don't think it'll be too hard and it shouldn't take too much time, so without further ado, let's get into it. Cadmium Yellow, Light, Cadmium Red, Ultramarine Blue, and Burnt Umber. So I'm going to just go ahead and start with the yellow. And I'm going to get a lot on the brush. And start right down here. And put in a nice bright yellow sunset and blend that all the way to our first balloon. I'm going to take a little bit of cadmium red now and kind of mix it together a little bit with the yellow. Get a nice orange color. It's a little more on the red side, but it's a pretty nice orange. I'm going to mix it right in here. Right along the edges. We're going to create a nice sunset. Alright, so now I'm going to wipe my brush off, and I'm going to pick up a lot of titanium white and mix it up with some of the cadmium red and get a nice pink color. So I added a bit more red and that original orange color we made, and now I'm going to start adding some blue and kind of mix them in and create a purple down in there. So I'm going to pick up lots of blue on the end of my brush, hopefully not make too much green, and yeah, that looks pretty good. So well, I'm just going to start from the corner and work my way down. Now this is straight ultramarine blue with a dirty brush, so that's why I'm getting some of that nasty color in there, but I went ahead and cleaned my brush off a bit, try to get some of that yellow out, and I'm going to lighten up the further down I go and leave the corners at a pure ultramarine blue. And I might even add some red up in here to make it a dark purple. So I will finish painting this, and once I get done I'll get back to you guys. Okay, I went ahead and covered up all the sky there. I'm going to go back in and brighten up the colors and try to get out some of the brush strokes and some of the green down there at the bottom. So see how this works here. Now before I did this, I did clean my brush off using paint thinner. I did that just whenever I paint wet on wet. Usually the brush is a lot more saturated, and I tend to get color mixing when I don't necessarily want the color to mix. So that's why I went ahead and cleaned it off. But I'm gonna go right in, get a little bit more red, go right into orange and touch up this area, and I'll get back to you when I'm done. Alright, I just about finished the sky up. I'm gonna add a lot more pink in here where the sun's gonna be reflecting off these clouds. Let you guys see how I do that. It's pretty easy. I'm just using a fan brush here. It's a Winsor Newton #1. Just mixing a little bit of titanium white and cadmium red together, a little heavier on the white side, and that's pretty much it. One thing that really helped me a while ago as far as getting a lot of the green out is actually using the pink. I found that it would help me blend yellow, orange, and then purple into blue together without getting that green transition. So I just kind of put pink everywhere where I seen green. I kind of covered that up a little bit, but I think I'll add a few more little clouds over here. Clouds were something that always really discouraged me when I first started painting. They're not so bad now. I think my problem when I started out was I wanted to paint, or I wanted to draw in the clouds instead of paint them, if that makes sense. I wanted to paint in every little detail instead of letting the details work themselves out. So, for instance, like in this area here, I'm just going to dab on a little bit of lighter colors, not being too particular where they go. I'm going to get a lot more white on the end of my brush. I'm going to dab in just some of the brightest spots here. And I'm just slowly going to blend them together. And I'll call that good. So, yeah, after this, we're going to move on down to the horizon. It's a pretty smooth transition from here to about right here in the canvas. So, what I'm actually going to do is just put down purple, a pinkish purple. I'm going to mix up the color as I go. I'm going to try to hang more towards the purple side, the further to the left of the canvas I get. So I got an old fan brush I'm using here for this, and I'm just going to scrub it on. After I went ahead and got the horizon filled in, I'm going to go ahead and get some of this titanium white. It's a little dirty, but it's pinkish white, a little pink tone, but mostly white. I'm just going to dab it in below all the purple here. I'm going to try to get it as white as possible. so we can mix it up and try to make a little bit of mist around. Alright, so after you get the white kind of blotched in there, go ahead and take a clean dry brush. I'm using this brush here. It's just a old soft acrylic brush, and I'm gonna kind of tap the transition and where we put the white at. I'm just gonna tap it and mash it in there. Get it all pressed into the canvas. Don't press hard enough though to where the metal on the brush is cutting the canvas. That would not be good, but just enough to kind of mix it up a little bit, and then drag it down, drag it across, and drag it up every which way, and you'll make some really good mist. So I'm going to finish doing this. I'm going to fix the horizon, and then we'll move on to the mountains. Alright, now we're ready to start on some of the mountains. To do this you can use a palette knife, but I think today I'm going to choose a number 2 filbert brush. So with this, all I'm really doing is picking up a real dark purple. It's actually a purple I used up in the corners of the painting. And I'm going to start off by just kind of shaping the peaks. Whenever you get a mountain shaped out, go ahead and take your filbert or your palette knife. You can use either one, and scrape it down and get all the excess paint off, and blend it into that mist that we created earlier. So now I don't think that mountain is dark enough, so I'm going to add a little bit of blue to my mixture. A little more red. Maybe a touch of burnt umber. Get it just a little bit darker. Now I'm going to come back in with my fan brush here with some of that mist, that pinky white mist mixture, and plop it just down here at the bottom of the mountain. And we're going to do the same thing we did for the horizon, except this time we're going to come up with it and mix up. If you get a little bit of excess lines, over top of the mountain, you can just go ahead and mix that in with your mist. It's not a big deal. Not a big deal at all. We want to keep these mountains in the distance as soft as possible. It'll really make these mountains up front stand out. So might look a little silly now, but it really does not take much. So let's go ahead and try to do another one. On each of these mountains, I'm going to get slightly darker as we come closer. So we got another little mountain peak here. Not a very big one, but still a mountain peak. So just like last time, take the paint and drag it down. Don't worry if you mess up or your mountain doesn't look right. If you mess up, you can just blend it right out. Not a big deal. So we're going to scrub that in there. Take our fan brush. Stab it. And take our blender brush and go ahead and blend it smooth. And continue this until we get done with the mountains in the distance. So I just went ahead and mixed up some more mountain tones. Remember, whenever you're mixing up your dark blues and your purples, the further away it is, the more blue you want it. Since the sun's actually behind a lot of these mountains, I'm not going to make them light blue. They're going to stay a little bit darker. But the closer we get, let more red show through. And it'll help create the illusion that the mountains are closer. So this mountain isn't too much closer than this guy over here, so I'm actually just gonna use the same color, but use a little more of it. Kind of blotch it on there a little more. Try to remember to keep the darker colors to the left of the mountain since the sun's on the right of the picture, so we're just going to drag all the colors down. Just like so, kind of touch up these mountains a bit. Now don't worry about making the details on these mountains too sharp. If you put a lot of detail on the mountains, then it won't look right. If you make it a little more fuzzy, a little more out of focus, I think it really helps paint the picture that they're far away. So I'm going to call that good there. I'm going to add a light purple to some of the highlighted sides of the mountain. Maybe that's not light enough. So I think that's good as far as the mountain goes. We're just going to come back with our our fan brush with some pink and white on it and scrub it in at the bottom and do the same techniques as we did for these other two. Alright, before we move on to the hot air balloons, I'll just take a minute to show you what I did to add in the canopy around here. All I did was take a fan brush. I mixed up 3 different types of greens, a pure green, a more of a yellow green, and then a real dark green. And I pretty much took a fan brush and just poked away at the canvas. Really easy, not much to it. And then I just I put down some more pink in between here and I just kind of blended them together real softly. Just like that. Add some more. The nice thing about this fog is you don't have to worry about getting too detailed because it's all just kind of blurry anyways. Alright, we're finishing up the picture now. Adding in the baskets, the little people inside. Having a good old time. They better get to where they're going though before that sun sets, but still looks like they're having fun. See if I can't get rid of some of these lines. Good tip for some of you if you're starting out. If you're having a hard time getting this color to lay off your brush, just add a little bit of paint thinner to it. I've been adding paint thinner to almost pretty much every color I've laid down. So far I've added at least a little bit of paint thinner. Helps it stick really well. Because whenever you paint wet on wet, the thinner paint sticks on top of the thicker paint. Unless if you just put a glob on there, then it'll hold, but it may not look as good. Unless if you're going for that look, then go for it. Because it's your painting. Well, I think I might go ahead and call that done. I'm actually really excited on how it turned out. I just need to go ahead and sign it, and that's it. So, you all have a good one, and I hope to see you again next time.